love music ourselves. It's the lyrics in the songs.
Don't worry, Craig. I feel the same way. Music brings us together, creates emotions, and builds culture. But it can also be pretty controversial. There are over 1,500 music genres in the world, and I like nearly every single one of them. But metal? I don't know, I just can't do it. So in this video, I want to find out why we like the music that we like, how music is changing, and I put myself to the test to see if I can learn to like music that I hate. Let's start first by figuring out what kind of music I actually listen to. After looking through my Spotify, it seemed like my top 5 genres varied quite a bit from the top genres throughout North America. So with all of that being said, that begs the question of why we listen to the music that we listen to. So I did some research to find the answer. Okay, so you know that feeling that you get when you listen to a song that's from your childhood? That's actually a pretty significant sign as to why we like the music that we like. Basically, your music taste is formed from a combination of 4 things: nostalgia, personality, culture, and upbringing. First, let's talk about nostalgia. Music can have an effect on us that brings us back to certain moments in our lives. In happy moments, the music that we listen to triggers a dopamine release in our brains that we remember. So when we hear that song again, we think back to those happy times. The same applies to sad moments and that feeling of sadness that you get when you listen to a sad song. For example, on one of my favorite road trips, I listened to Weezer for basically 8 hours straight. So now when I hear a Weezer song when I'm at the mall or something, all I can think about is that road trip. That applies to genres as well. If you've listened to a lot of pop in good moments, our brains will seek out pop music to get that same dopamine release. Next, personality. Studies have shown that people who listen to country music, pop, and hip-hop tended to be more social and extroverted, whereas people who enjoyed folk, classical, or jazz tended to be more introverted. I literally listen to folk, pop, and hip-hop, so where does that leave me? I also know that I'm not alone in that, and genres have blended together quite a bit in the last decade, so that data isn't super accurate anymore. But people who listen to more upbeat music tended to be happier overall. Next, let's talk about culture. I've grown up my entire life in Canada. In the 2000s and 2010s, pop and hip-hop were really popular among my age group in Canadian music. Think of Justin Bieber, Drake, and The Weeknd. All 3 are Canadian, and all 3 are very popular. So naturally, being surrounded by that on the radio, that's what me and my friends tended to listen to. If I'd grown up in South America, I'd tend to think that that would be pretty different, especially considering there's kind of a language difference there. Different regions of the world and different cultures listen to different kinds of music, which actually ties in pretty heavily with our upbringing. The music our parents, siblings, and friends all listen to directly impacts the music that we individually listen to. This is probably my favorite example. Eiffel 65's I'm Blue. That was something that my parents played all the time when I was growing up, so naturally, David Guetta's version is one of my favorite songs in the last year. But with all that being said, music tastes are purely subjective. There's really no right or wrong reason to be listening to music. Your music taste is kind of just up to you. My goal for this video is to expose myself to metal to see if I actually truly hate it, so I'm gonna listen to metal only for the next 7 days to see how my opinion changes. So on that note, let's see how I'm doing. So the challenge starts tomorrow, and I don't really know what to expect. Back in 2019, I went to a punk show at a bar, and it was really fun, but I don't think I'd listen to that music like super often when I'm working or just going about my normal day. I think that's what concerns me about listening to metal for the next 7 days, because I just don't know what to expect. I guess we'll find out how it goes, and fingers crossed, it's not the worst week of my life. I just got out of the gym, which is why my arm is literally shaking, but I was listening to metal in there, and let me tell you, it made me angry. It made me want to lift heavy metal, which is good because I was listening to heavy metal. Maybe there's a correlation there. It was kind of fitting for the gym. I think the drive home, maybe not so fitting. After driving home in near silence, I tried to find some music I could actually tolerate. This morning at the gym, you know how I said yesterday that I was listening to metal music? Yeah, well, the gym was actually playing it today, which I didn't really think was going to be a thing. Anyways, today I'm gonna try and put myself to the test. I didn't do it yesterday by trying to work by listening to metal. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I don't have high hopes. Maybe it's easier to focus with metal because it makes me enraged. Okay, so I found this playlist, but can someone just explain to me how that song is 15 minutes long, that one's 10 minutes long? Why are these songs so insanely long? I don't like that. Okay, so chill metal is manageable, but to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure I was just tuning it out. Normally it like makes me want to work harder and like adds vibes, but I found myself kind of just feeling a little bit awful listening to it. So I have some errands to run. On the way there, I'm gonna be blasting metal. During that drive, I found a few songs that I actually really enjoyed. I was supposed to listen to music today and I didn't because I didn't have time. Last night when I was listening to that Avenged Sevenfold song, I kind of didn't mind it. So I'm gonna tend to think that there's gonna be songs I'm gonna pick up on, I'm gonna start to enjoy over the next few days. The other thing I noticed is that just general vibe when I was listening to metal, the days I listened to the metal, I just felt so like, I don't know, on edge or like not ready to throw hands, but like ready to throw anger. As a normally pretty chipper, cheery guy, I think maybe metal brings out a side of me that I don't channel often. So maybe when I need to channel some anger, it could be good. But on most days, I'll probably end up sticking to non-metal. I guess we'll see what happens over the next 4 days, though. I'm gonna go on a drive and listen to some metal music, because that's my life now. I have some news to confess. I think I found some songs I'm starting to like. So to clarify there, I actually meant that I kind of enjoyed metal music that was mixed with EDM and hip-hop songs. Now maybe that was cheating, but it was a starting point. All of this experimentation made me curious about one big question. Why do we listen to music in the first place? Some of the stories and studies that I found are actually pretty interesting, but the one that seems the most likely is that music originated from rituals and cultural ceremonies. Another different and more recent theory is that music was created to unite societies and communities and to lift everyone's spirits. Regardless, music has been around for a very long time, possibly as long as we've even existed. One rough estimate is that we've been making and listening to music for 800,000 years. As we developed and invented instruments, the music evolved and more genres and styles got created. Even 100 years ago, music was very different from what it is now. First of all, I don't think I need to say that in the 1920s, Spotify wasn't a thing. But hey, maybe you didn't know that. Radio stations were just starting to get popular back then. Back then, given that the war had just ended, most of the music was upbeat and cheery, which of course shifted into the 30s more towards blues and country. The 40s and 50s shifted music from jazz and big bands towards the start of rock and pop music. The 60s continued the shift to rock and roll, expanding the different genres of rock that existed. The 90s and 2000s popularized pop, electronic, and rap, and in the last decade, electronic, pop, and hip-hop have definitely dominated. Over the next 100 years, music is going to continue to shift in much the same way. The thing is that music is always evolving because we always want to expand our interests and hear new sounds. Speaking of that, back to my exploration of music. So something that I just realized that I failed to consider is that one of my best friends, Wolf, literally listens to metal music all the time. So I'm gonna ask him for some recommendations to see what he thinks I should actually listen to. I'm about to meet up with my sister, and on the way here, I realized something. The like screamy, like, I don't know, grunty, like rah sounds, that's what I don't like about metal music. The more of that there is, the less I like the song and I'm more likely to skip, but more like the stuff that leans more towards like punk rock, I tend to enjoy that stuff, it seems. Wolf recommended that I listen to Gojira to step it up a little bit, so that's what we're gonna listen to on the drive home. My drive was a lot faster than I thought it'd be, but I got 2 songs in, and it's a little bit aggressive, but I'll keep listening. I think today I'm gonna dye my hair black and get my nose and lip and eye pierced. Just kidding, but I'm gonna continue to experiment with the Gojira today and see how I like it. I think I'm progressing. I listened to some more Gojira on my way to the gym and while I was at the gym, starting to pick up on some songs that I like and don't like. But on the way home from the gym, I did break my challenge a little bit. I don't know, it's a nice day out today, and I just really wanted to listen to some happy vibes songs while I was driving home from the gym, so I did to put myself in a good mood, so I broke it a little bit. But anyways, I posted a story on Instagram asking my friends to rank their top 5 music genres from some of the most popular categories. So we'll see what sort of responses I get. So somehow it seems like I've started to adjust, which is genuinely something I didn't think would be possible. But why do our music tastes even shift? And why are we so resistant to the music that we don't like? There's definitely evidence that our music tastes change as we get older, mostly to do with the various stages of our lives. When we're kids, we listen to what we grew up with. Once we become teenagers, we start to rebel against the music we listened to as kids, forming our own styles and opinions. And as we become adults, we shift again, rediscovering for ourselves what we like now that we've formed our own tastes. And your music taste continues to shift over time. Different friend groups, different cultures, different regions, you're going to be exposed to all sorts of different things. In the same way that your fashion will likely continually evolve, so will your music tastes. Again, art is totally subjective, and how we represent ourselves is constantly changing. For the last time, let's check in on my week-long journey of listening to metal music to see how I'm doing. Yo, it's the last day of the challenge, so I wanted to share some final thoughts on metal and this whole experience, and also share some of the responses on music genre rankings. I think it goes without saying that I've kind of shifted my opinion a little bit on metal. I'm not going to say I'm going to be listening to exclusively metal, but I will be a little bit more open-minded when it comes to different music genres. I used to be against country, and then I kind of learned to like it. I used to be against metal, and then I kind of learned to like it. I think exposing yourself to new things is valuable, and it shows mental strength and stamina to be able to expose yourself to things, to see why you like the stuff you like. I'm gonna open up my DMs and see what people thought, and to get some of the opinions of the people of the music world. At the bottom was metal, then country, electronic in the middle, hip-hop in second, and pop came in first place. Regardless, I think this is all pretty fascinating, and it shows that I'm not alone in not giving metal a chance. But now that I know, I can give more music a chance, and if I'm ever resisting a type of music, maybe it's time that I expose myself to it. All right, music. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot going on here. I guess the biggest thing to remember here is to keep your mind open, because you never know what you're gonna enjoy. And speaking of that, I think you're gonna enjoy this video where I tell you why BeReal is going to kill off Instagram. Kind of crazy. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week.